turn. Okay. But first, let me get so.
The United States of America today is one of the most prosperous countries, but it couldn't have started without one great individual, George Washington. So today I'm going to have a tribute speech for George Washington. George Washington was one of the greatest leaders in American history, and most of that started through his childhood. He grew up in Mount Vernon on a plantation and owned his first slave at 11 years old. He went through some tough times as a child, contracting smallpox in Central America and having to persevere to fight off that disease. Now, fighting has been something that George Washington has been able to do all throughout his life. None was a bigger challenge than when he led America through the Revolutionary War. He was the one to command the first attack against the Royal Army and was appointed the leader of the American troops throughout the Revolutionary War. One crazy statistic that stood out for me was that he actually lost more battles than he won. Now this just proves to me that George Washington wasn't a person to stray away from a tough task. His perseverance is what led the American troops to victory. Now, after he won our independence, it didn't stop there. He had to then unite the country that had very different opinions from all the colonies. He was appointed the president of the Constitutional Convention and had to compromise with several different opinions. His two biggest compromises were the Great Compromise and the Three-Fifths Compromise. The Great Compromise was the compromise that led to the agreement between the small and the big states. The small states wanted equal representation, and the large states wanted representation due to population. George Washington worked out a plan to where the Senate would be through equal representation and the House would be through representation by population. The Three-Fifths Compromise was the compromise that led to the agreement between the slave and the free states. The slave states were allowed to have their slaves equal 3/5 of a person. Now, after he united the colonies, he was then asked to lead a very disrupted country through its beginning stages of its constitution. Through his first term, he developed the State Department, the currency we use today, the Navy, and the Supreme Court. All of these are new ideas that had never been used in any other form of government. He had to take a lot of different Enlightenment thinkers and ideas and combine them into a way that would fit the United States. And it set the groundwork for a constitution that is still in use today. Now, although George Washington was a great leader, he was also the model citizen for what a person from the United States should be. He was a family man and was married to Martha Curtis and raised children all throughout his life. He raised these children even though they were not his. George and Martha were not able to conceive their own children, and he had to adopt, although he was still a loving parent and loved them unconditionally. He was also a religious man and went to church all throughout his life. He was the only president that freed his slaves in his will. Now, if these reasons do not show you that George Washington was one of the greatest leaders and one of the greatest people throughout history, then you can just look at all the things that we have marked by him today. Both small, such as the U.S. quarter and the $1 bill, and large, such as the Washington Monument and being the first base on Mount Rushmore. George Washington truly is the reason why America has thrived today and why America is here in the first place. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can't get her. Can't get her. Alright, got her.
Okay.